I'm not worried about it.
Loosey-goosey.
Exactly.
Good to go. I mean, we're going to drink 2 different glasses of whiskey, so that might make you even more loosey-goosey. So you've got 2 glasses in front of you.
Yes.
And there's not... So the last time we compared 2 Irish whiskeys, right? I should let everybody listening who doesn't know your voice already that I have Bryce on the show today.
Hi, guys.
So welcome to Whiskey Noobs. My name is Chris, and I'm the host of the show. And... So these 2 don't have like a theme like those 2 did.
Okay.
There's a specific reason that I wanted to try them, but it's not like that one had like a light body Irish whiskey and a heavy body Irish whiskey the last time we did this. It's not like that. So you can feel free to guess what type of whiskey it is, those sorts of things. This is totally blind for Bryce. It's single blind for me. I know what the 2 whiskeys are, but I don't know which is which. I had my wife do it. So... That's kind of, I mean, we're just going to have fun with it.
Yeah.
I really want to see your reaction to these. Now, as we always do when I have you on, why don't you let us know since since the Kentucky Derby, how much whiskey have you drank?
I have had exactly 2 glasses from your barrel pick. That's it. On vacation. And it's good.
That's right.
It's a little high proof for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very tasty, very smooth, but it just, I just don't really get around to drinking bourbon or whiskey a whole lot.
Totally fine. I mean, that's why I have you on here. This is Whiskey Noobs. Yeah. And it's like, if I just wait 6 months, Bryce is a noob again. It's all I got to do. It's great.
Yeah.
I actually... just had in a Q&A, it might have been the last Q&A episode, I don't remember. Somebody asked if they're like, are you going to have Autumn on again? I was wondering if she's into whiskey now or like whatever happened with that. And I was like, hilarious. No. I don't think either of them are really.
Whatever date that episode was, that is the last time Autumn has drank whiskey.
Very good point.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a very good influence in that way. I mean, I don't drink it a whole lot, and so therefore she doesn't really, drink it a whole lot.
Yeah.
Now, if I did have some, I think she probably tasted your barrel pick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
she probably tasted that.
Oh, so she'll still like at least smell it.
Yeah,
and be, like,
she'll
curious
smell,
about
taste.
It.
Yeah, I mean, for us to get like a, let's pour a glass of whiskey. That would be, it'd be out of the ordinary to say the least.
Now I don't remember if we talked about this last time. You do that with wine a little bit sometimes, or at least you did. Are you still doing wine tasting?
Every now and again, not as much as I was. I mean, I still like it, but you know how I get.
Yeah, no, I totally. So that you like to get really into something for like a month, and then hyperfixation. I get it.
Whole milk.
We're on a milk kick right now.
Milk
for
kick.
Strong bones. Nothing wrong with that. It's good for you, man. Well, that's what we're dealing with here. So everybody listening who doesn't know your background that's the deck of cards we're playing with. So you haven't really had any whiskey for like 6 months, aside from a couple glasses. Sometimes you do wine tastings, though. Yeah. And usually, and I'll put myself out there, I'll vouch for you, usually you're scary accurate with some of the notes. I think it's just because you're so into foods and wines and tasting.
Yeah, flavors aren't like too foreign to me.
Right.
I just have to like sort through the alcohol to get, like once I can get past the initial burning sensation, the flavors aren't foreign.
Right.
I can find them.
Just takes a couple sips to get acclimated.
I just got to get a little lubed up.
Yeah, I gotcha. So for those wondering what we're blind tasting, it is in the title of the show, but I'm going to cut in right now audio that says which is which. So we've got one that's labeled orange and one that's labeled blue. You'll hear Bryce and I saying a lot of the orange one's this, the blue one's this. For those wondering which one is, I'm going to cut that in right now. Blue is TX, orange is Brothers Bond. Okay, so everybody knows. We still don't because I haven't. That's in the future. That's
the fun of it.
I love it. I love blind tasting. So let's start this thing. Which one do you want to start with? Orange or blue? What are you feeling?
I'm wearing a blue shirt, so
that's perfect.
Naturally, go for the blue.
Let's go for the blue. Let's give it a smell. The other good news is it's been so long since I've had either of these that I'm probably not going to know which is which.
The good news is that I feel like I'm at home.
What does that mean?
It just smells really good.
Oh,
yeah,
like
I'm into it already.
Yeah, it does have.
It's like a long lost friend.
It does have a really nice smell. Since I know the 2 whiskeys, I'm gonna really let you lead on things you're smelling, flavor notes, that sort of a thing. I'll try to help steer, but I don't want to accidentally push you in one direction.
It smells real. It's real sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Can't put my nose on. I mean, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but it's got like a cardboard smell.
That's fair. Like
a papery.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it.
It's got that envelope.
Oh, it might when we go to taste it. Let's do it. Ready? Let's taste it. First sip, always a little bit sacrificial.
Yeah. Let me go back in for one more.
I think I might know which one this is.
It's a lot going on.
There is.
My initial is like a root beer.
That's an interesting one.
It's like a root beer, almost like a Dr. Pepper, like a cherry molasses.
Now, I've been drinking a lot of diet root beer lately. Mm-hmm. I've been really cutting back on drinking, so diet pop's like my go-to. Like a really vanilla-y root beer, because like it's got the spiciness that a root beer would have, but then like that smooth vanilla kind of.
I think vanilla might be the missing link for me. Even on the smell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's something else kind of distinct that I get from this, but I'm not gonna tell you, obviously. So if you arrive at it over the course of the next half hour, then you do. But I don't want to accidentally.
Yeah, don't be putting thoughts in my head.
I know. I think with the last one,
of everything.
You're easily convinced. I think with the last one, I accidentally talked too much about the two things we were drinking. So I'm really trying to let you lead. But I will agree with you on some of the things you're saying. And I think like vanilla root beer.
It's very sweet. I mean, it's very smooth.
Very sweet.
Very smooth.
Yeah, very smooth. These are, I don't think either of these are incredibly high proof. I will tell you that, because that's not really the point of this tasting. So I'll tell you that. Okay. Let's just let that one sit for a sec. We can do some back and forth. Okay. I'm gonna drink some water here and clean
let me
my
get some
palate
of that too.
This is where it gets more exciting. I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, that always brings out it's like turning a light on
big time.
Yeah.
Like having something. It's like your foundation to compare to. So that was the blue. We're gonna move to orange now.
Ooh, I like the smell of that one.
Okay, what are you liking that's different from the last?
Let me go back.
Oh, good idea. Get a little side by side.
You know, I mean, they smell. They're pretty similar. I'm gonna be mad if these are the same exact.
Wouldn't that be something?
I could see you doing that.
Wouldn't that be something cool?
After the last one.
Hey, you never know. You said you hate Green Spot live. Let's do it blind, so I make you look dumb.
This is gonna be double Green Spot.
2 glasses of Green Spot.
Green Spot sucks.
I can see. Okay, what you mean.
I definitely smell a difference now. Yeah. I just can't put my finger on what it is.
I can see what you mean about the similarities, though.
This is definitely the vanilla, like a spice.
Blue one.
Yeah, the blue. Yeah, blue is like a spice vanilla.
Yeah. Okay. Very kind of sweet forward, sugary vanilla. Orange is a different ball game, a little bit, but like you said, there's similarities.
Orange is like it's more like bakery sweet.
Okay, yeah.
Like Perlane.
Perlane?
Yeah, isn't that what those things are called?
What are you talking about?
You're gonna look.
Praline?
Praline, yeah.
I'm gonna look.
Yeah, you're gonna look it up. You're gonna be like, that's what that is.
I honestly,
it's a praline.
Okay, like you mean like candied nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a dessert called a praline? I've only heard of praline pecan.
No, that's definitely the pecans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
Just Google.
No, we're going with it. All right, let's dive in.
Okay, they're definitely not the same.
Yeah, definitely something different going on.
Very smooth. Kind of like a caramel right on the front.
Mm-hmm. If this is what I think, if I think I have the two right, honor system, I will say if I ended up getting it right. So I'm going to make a guess in my head right now. This one is what I think it is, and this one's what I think it is. Right. And I will honor system, I'll be honest, whether or not I was right. All right?
Seems sus.
I know there's no other way to do it, really, you know? But if this is what I think it is, I am more impressed than I thought I was going to be with it.
I'm digging the smell of the blue one.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I go back.
Sweeter, you think, or what?
Yeah, it's just that strong vanilla.
Yeah. Wow, when you go back to it, it's like smelling vanilla extract or something. Wow, it makes that pop. And it
really dulls down the smell of the orange for me.
For the orange, for me, it's bringing out everything except that sweetness. Like, it's really dulling the caramel vanilla that we talked about when we first tried the orange.
Yeah.
And bringing out almost like a woody. Really, woody is like probably the most thing that I'm getting right now. On the orange.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it.
Yeah. Maybe like a sour fruit or sour candy.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like a stone fruit.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not like exactly. It's a lot more bitter.
Bitter's a good word.
Yeah, it's fruity yet bitter.
Yeah.
Like a grapefruit.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah.
Not that it smells or tastes like grapefruit, but like the bitterness of a grapefruit.
In the same manner that you're getting a fruitiness with a bitterness. I was saying sour fruit, but bitter is almost a better word for that. It's like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like if you've ever had a fruit smoothie that came out bitter. Like maybe you put too much plain yogurt in it. I use a lot of plain yogurt in my smoothie. Like that's kind of what it's. Plain yogurt, that bitterness, that's might be a pretty good comparison.
Yeah.
Like a plain Greek yogurt. I can see that. For the bitterness. Like this doesn't taste like yogurt, obviously. No. So let's do a quick back and forth though. So did you recently have a sip of the...
Yeah, last was orange.
Okay, let's dive into blue then.
Wow.
Totally different ball game.
Yeah. Wow. Two very different, very contrasting here. Wow.
I am surprised by that. So you've had a sip of both. You've had them back to back. Let me actually, since you just sipped the blue, now try the orange. And then I want to hear your rundown on like the two of them. Your overall consensus on them before we'll get into guessing different things and stuff like that.
Let me get one more of the orange.
Ooh. I might be wrong. I might have switched them. I'm interested to see.
So my first thought, the blue is just predominant vanilla, like a spiced vanilla, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I really like the blue.
Okay.
I really like the blue. I think because the blue is so flavorful, it's really making the orange, it's really dulling the flavors of the orange out for me.
I see that.
It's tough. I'm having to take multiple sips of the orange. The orange is kind of earthy, a little bitter. I did get a little sweetness right at the start. But like I said, I think that the blue's sweetness and the vanilla is really overshadowing that. And it's just making the orange seem very bitter at this point.
I totally agree. I thought they were going to be more similar based on the nose.
Yeah.
I thought these were going to be more similar. I stayed with the orange for so long that when I went back to blue, I was like,
wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like, fully. Like, I don't know if I've ever had a whiskey taste so sweet. Not because the whiskey's so sweet, but because we went from the orange to the blue, it made the blue taste so sweet.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like, in a weird way, if this was like a pairing, it's like the orange complements the blue. The blue does not complement the orange. The blue overtakes the orange, really. There's a couple of specific flavors that I'm holding back that I'll mention before we do the big reveal.
Maybe a little cinnamon. I think that's what I'm on the blue.
Yeah,
yeah.
blue.
Just to make that clear.
Okay.
I think that's what I think. Like spiced vanilla. That's like the best way I can describe it.
This isn't the flavor that I was gonna say, but have you had like rice pudding with a little cinnamon on it?
Yeah.
Have you ever had that?
Yes.
It's giving me that type of a vibe. For sure. You got that strong vanilla, kind of creamy.
Yes.
And then that cinnamon makes it a little bit more exciting. I didn't think I liked either of these as much as I'm liking the blue, which tells me this is a really good pairing for the blue.
I agree.
Not for the orange.
Yeah.
I don't love either of these, but I also don't hate either of these. I think they're both solid. But the orange is making the blue look really good, which has me totally confused if my initial guess was right. I will be honest. I promise you I will. But I don't know if it was right or not. I'm going to do... Okay, so let's be a little bit more organized about this.
You're going to have to steer me in the right direction.
I'll steer you
I'm so
here.
lost on the orange right now.
On what you're tasting.
Yeah, I'm just having so much... Like, I'm having such difficulty pulling anything out of it.
Totally agreed. So here's what I'm thinking we need to do. I think we need to wash our palates really well with the water and try the orange again so we can give it a fair shake. We'll leave the blue aside for a minute.
Good idea.
Really give it a fair shake, and then we'll get into the guessing game a little bit, which is where things get more fun.
I think we definitely need to lead with the orange because the orange is just getting overshadowed big time by the blue.
I totally agree with what you said earlier. Like, it's taking me 2 or 3 sips to really start to pull flavors from the orange after having the blue. Okay, I washed my mouth out pretty good. Neither of these are overly strong, so hopefully that
on
helps.
the nose. I get like I said, like the bakery, like a fresh baked bread.
Ooh, baked bread's a good one. Yeah. I definitely see that.
Okay.
It's got way more flavor now, right?
Okay.
Compared to drinking it right after the blue, which is amazing. I've never had a side-by-side tasting make the 2 whiskeys taste so different.
Yeah.
Like, when we just tried blue, it was like, oh, this is sweet. And then you try the orange and go back to it, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah. that was very intense going straight from orange to blue. I was very sold on
right. I mean, that was
I was about to say, I was like, this is the best whiskey I've had.
All right. I like to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I just, it's low proof. It's very sweet. It's,
Definitely.
It's right up my alley.
Like I said, I don't know that I've had a whiskey taste as sweet as blue tasted, specifically after orange. Because I've had blue by itself.
Yeah.
Whichever of these it is, I've had it by itself. But man, the orange made it taste so sweet. But let's keep giving orange a fair shake here. So what types of notes are we getting on the palate?
I do get that. I do get a little bit of a sweetness, like a fresh baked bread. Nothing too crazy. And then I get like that fruity bitter. I said, I don't want to call. It's like a raisin bitter.
Ooh, that's a good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's not. It's a little sweet and fruity, but not like sweet. There's a definite hint of bitterness.
Have you had craisins? Cranberry. No. Oh, dried cranberry raisin things. It's giving me that. 'Cause cranberries have that bit of like sour bitter. Like they get your jaws a little bit.
Oh, see, this is.
I'm in your head.
Instantly talking
I'm in your head.
to it. I'm like, oh, that's a cranberry. I'm smelling them now.
This is cranberry whiskey, man. No, but you're right. The kind of raisiny bitter.
Yeah.
Maybe
like a dried fruit.
Dried fruit is not a nice ripe juicy fruit. This is like a dried fruit-esque. To me, I'm still getting some woodiness, like maybe like a sandalwood type of vibe to it. Not like dark oaky, but like a sandalwood mahogany. I don't know. I don't smell woods for a living, but you know what I mean.
Like a teak.
Oh, teak, yeah. And I only know that
I do get that on the nose now.
There's a candle from like...
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Teak wood and mahogany or something like that?
Mahogany teak wood is the best.
Great candle. Great
That's
candle.
a dude smell right there.
That's a full-on dude smell. I had that candle like all through high school, my only candle.
I had the body wash for a while.
Oh, that's good stuff. I think I had it too. That's Bath and Body Works, right?
Yeah.
Just for people like... What are these guys
Plug
talking
for
about?
Bath and Body Works.
Plug. Not sponsored. Bath and Body. Sponsor
I want
us.
$10 at least.
I mean, we could base all of our smells off of your candles. And that'd be cool. 10% off. Come on, something. No, it is that type of a wood, though, where it's like, especially when it pairs with that bitter fruity, because like mahogany teak wood candle, like it has that kind of sharpness, is I guess the word I'm looking for. This has a little bit of that. I'm speaking it into your brain.
You are for sure. This is like walking in a Hollister right now.
Yeah. We got a lot of sense going on.
Turn the lights down. I
can turn the lights off and really give it the effect.
Set the ambiance.
Play like early 2000s emo music. No, they didn't play emo in Hollister. What type of...
It was definitely beach.
Beachy.
Like a beach vibe,
yes. You're right. You're right. Here's what I'll say. The more we sit with just the orange, the more I like it. For sure, when you're comparing it to the blue, it's like you can't even taste anything.
It's so funny because I feel like the orange is gonna be a really expensive whiskey, and the blue is just gonna be like the bottom of the barrel.
It's like Bryce loves it,
and that's exactly why I like it.
Wouldn't that be great?
It would make a lot of sense.
You could buy a bottle super cheap.
I mean, what I will say about blue versus orange is, I think orange brings a lot more interesting flavors to the table that it's a little harder to figure out. But
I totally agree with you.
blue is definitely just like up front, in your face, sweet.
Yes, and I didn't want to lead you there.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you. And I still don't know which is which, but I totally agree that orange was giving me more of a body and a complexity. Mm-hmm. But man, it's hard to find when you're drinking that. Excuse me, when you're drinking the blue. But the blue is bringing a ton of that vanilla sweetness, pinch of cinnamon, and that's like all you're getting. But you're getting a ton of it. So it's kind of like when we did the red breast versus the green spot. The blue's more in the realm of the red breast, which was simpler, and the orange is more in the realm of the green spot. But what's weird is green spot for sure overpowers red breast. What's weird is here, blue was overpowering orange.
Yeah.
It's just one flavor, but it's like trampling.
I think it's because that the flavor, even like with red breast, I mean, it's so much more subtle. This is like... there is no denying that this is vanilla and cinnamon, and it's there to stay. You get it on the nose, you get it on the palate, and it doesn't change. You're so right. You could almost convince me if you gave me a glass of orange and I drank some of it, and then I tried that. You could almost convince me that was lightly flavored. The blue was like lightly infused with a vanilla or something. See, I wouldn't, and I feel the same way. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you told me that this was flavored.
Right.
Which is what I mean. That's what I mean by what I say that this one could be really expensive and this one could be really cheap.
Right.
Not that this tastes bad at all.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's almost like they're trying to mask over something in a way because it's so heavy on the vanilla and the cinnamon.
Yes, like it's got a strong flavor to hide other stuff going on.
For people who are inexperienced like me.
Right.
Who are like, wow, this is really good.
That's fair. There is one thing I want to establish, and I'll just directly ask you, now that we've got your full opinion on these, I feel like now I can ask questions that might lead you in certain directions.
Come on, take me on a journey.
I'm taking you on a trip here. I picked these two bottles because there was a specific note that I thought they shared. I have only ever had them in separate sittings. I've never sat down and drank both. So, in the separate sittings, I was like, oh, these both have this note that's not necessarily common. Like, I don't get this note a lot. So I wanted to try them side by side. I'm curious what similarities you see between these two glasses. I would definitely start with the orange since it gets overpowered by the blue. But let's do like a tasting and then, like a quick tasting. Really rinse our mouth out with the water and then go to the blue. And I'm interested to see if you see any similarities. I will say, I'll let you talk, but I will say, since we were kind of ragging on orange in the beginning, the more I drink it, the more I like it without drinking the blue.
Yeah, I agree.
Without
that standalone, I mean, the orange standalone, it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's definitely got more like a classic whiskey flavor to me.
That's totally fair.
Yep. Like there's nothing that like really like separates it from the pack of things that I've tried per se
compared to the blue.
But like overall, it's very well rounded.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. And I think what's funny is I do think both of these taste pretty different from like a bourbon, but when you have them side by side, that orange now tastes so bourbony to me compared to the blue.
Yeah.
That it's like you said, it doesn't taste overly different from anything else. But if we were doing this blind versus like Buffalo Trace, I think you'd be like, oh, these are two super different.
Yeah.
But it's wild how I have no idea what's happening chemically with a pairing, but whatever it's doing to our tongues, it totally changes that perspective.
Yeah.
Like a lot. A lot. All right. So yeah, go ahead with the blue. Okay. I'm gonna start on the blue here. And then I'm curious if there's any specific similarities that you're seeing between the two.
What's interesting is now, oh, there it is. there's the vanilla. When I first tried, maybe because of the water, because I just rinsed my palate.
Yeah,
for
sure.
It wasn't nearly as strong forward with the vanilla or cinnamon, but then it kind of hit me there at the end.
I forgot to rinse with water, so I'm gonna get a better rinse here.
Similarities. That's a tough one.
Is
it blatantly obvious to you?
Not
right now?
Not in this setting.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to do this episode, because I'm like, am I crazy?
Yeah.
I thought these tasted similar. And now that I'm doing them side by side, I'm like, whoa, these taste so different, which was really the motivator for this episode. It's just kind of a fun blind tasting, and I wanted to have somebody as my sanity check to do it with me.
Yeah. You got me thinking I'm crazy when you tell me there's similarities. I'm like,
You're like, wait a minute. Yeah, they're pretty different in this setting.
yeah, they're very. I mean, I almost couldn't tell you.
Okay. So
I'll be. Yeah.
go ahead.
I have no idea.
Okay, so go ahead and rinse your mouth out because I'll have you start with orange again, and I'll tell you the note that I thought these two had in common. That I was like, and I'll unashamedly, I will say, going into this episode, one of the reasons I wanted you here, I'm like, he's gonna taste and be like, these both have it. You know what I mean? And now that I'm doing the tasting with you, I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, what? So, the orange you can taste next. I thought they both had a little bit of a banana taste to them.
No. Oh, you're gonna get me with the blue. I've already convinced myself.
The blue's way more obvious. I think.
I gotta go. I'm excited now. Yes. I'm looking for it. Though.
All right.
I gotta
picture bananas, mental image, or like a banana pudding, banana with some vanilla wafers. Right.
I hate this.
It's so weird.
That just smelled like a banana runt to me.
Yes. It's so
okay. I'm gonna try it.
Weird.
I'll look. Not so much on that one. Not so much. Not
as much as I
the
thought.
Nose. Yeah.
Right. A little bit on the palate. But now dive into the blue.
I'm not getting it on the nose on this one.
Okay.
I can get it on that one for sure.
Right.
Wow.
Like a banana pudding.
Banana pudding. That is the perfect way to describe that.
Yeah. And now I think if this is what I think it is, the orange, for me it was more of a banana nut muffin, whereas the blue was more of a banana pudding.
I mean, that's not too far off though from the bakery sweet.
Right.
And then what are those things? Pralines.
Yeah.
Your audience will be like, what a hillbilly.
I mean, we've said envelope notes before. It's nothing new, you know? But truly, part of me, going into this, thought you were going to taste, banana nut muffin, banana pudding, two different things.
Yeah.
But I thought you were going to taste and be like, well, these both have a banana note. That's how strong I thought the banana note was.
That's interesting.
And then when we sat down, we did the blue, I'm like, oh, yeah, banana notes for sure. And then we went to the orange, and I'm like, what? What? And I am very curious if I have them correct as to which is which. I'll still make my original guess. I don't know if my original guess was correct or not. I'll make it before I open the folded up piece of paper that we have.
I get the banana Foster. My God,
that's a great.
That's it.
Some vanilla ice cream,
that's it, dude. That is
banana.
100% exactly how blue tastes.
That's a great descriptor.
Wow.
Not just banana pudding, but bananas Foster with that vanilla ice cream underneath that little bit of whatever that cake is they put it on top of. Yeah. Now, here's where I'll really throw you some curveballs. What do you think these are? Like
large group, like whiskey, bourbon, whatever.
Yes. So we've got. I'll narrow it down to bourbon, Scotch, Irish whiskey, or other. Is what I'll narrow it down to.
It's so hard. I'm gonna say other.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go with other.
That's totally a fair.
Okay.
That's a fair. If I told you they're two different things, which one would you say is other, and which one would you say is something different? What would you guess the other one is?
I would say this might be Irish. The orange.
Orange. Okay.
Yeah.
And you think blue is other? It's like
is Irish. Scotch is the envelope.
Irish was the envelope one.
Okay.
The green spot was Irish.
Okay, well then I'm gonna take that away because I thought the envelope was Scotch.
Okay, I mean we've had some Scotches that have it a little bit. Irish would be like your red breast and your green spot.
Okay.
Scotch, I think you've had monkey shoulder.
Yeah.
Irish Tullamore Dew. I remember you had that. Scotch, I don't know other Scotches that you've had. Honestly, I haven't done many Scotches.
I don't know that
you.
I've done many on the show. I might have had a glass or two.
Yeah, because I know you've done like Johnny and stuff, but they have smoky flavor in them, so it's different.
I'm gonna get this one. Might be Scotch because there is a little bit of like a little woody flavor.
Okay,
I'm gonna attribute that to the smokiness of the Scotch.
That's fair. Okay, I'll let you. So I'll make my official guesses. All right. So and I already gave away their low proof. I have no idea how old either of these are. We won't get that in depth. The reason being, these are both really curveball-ish whiskeys. Okay, so one of them is the other category, which you guessed correctly. And if I'm right, you guessed the correct glass. I think blue is the other category, which is a blended whiskey. So it's a blend, I believe, of bourbon and grain whiskey. So grain whiskey being like where they distill it to a super high proof. It doesn't follow the same recipe as bourbon, and they blend it in to get like flavoring. I think that's the blue. I think is TX blended whiskey. You might have seen TX. It's got the big T and the X on it. Orange, what I think it is Brothers Bond, which is a bourbon.
Okay.
But the reason it's a curveball is because it tastes probably the least like bourbon out of most of the ones we've had on the show.
Yeah.
This doesn't taste bourbon-y to me. And so both of these have been on the show in their own episodes. And in those episodes, with both of them, I'm like, this is banana. I'm like, this tastes banana. This Brothers Bond, I was like, banana nut muffin. TX, I was like, banana pudding. I thought for sure. Another good one for TX, or whatever the blue is, creme brulee.
Yes.
That little bit of
the vanilla, yes.
The custardy flavor.
Yeah.
So let's see if I'm right or not. So I think, and this is what I thought since the beginning, blue is TX and orange is Brothers Bond is my guess. And the reason I think that is because when we tasted the TX, I got some of that grain whiskey-esque. Grain whiskey tends to give me a little bit of like a white sugar, and I got a little bit of that and an alcohol. So that was my guess. Let's see. That is correct.
Nice.
And I guessed it before I opened it, so you know I'm not lying.
Like the way you explained the blended whiskey makes perfect sense for blue.
Yes.
That's what I was, when you said other, that's what I was thinking. When you said like a flavored, that's what Not that it's flavored, but that's what I was thinking. I was like, this is so different from anything I've tried.
Right.
So this can't be A, B, or C. It's got to be something else.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm glad that you picked up on that because it's been how long since you've had scotches and bourbons. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome. So, yeah, so for those wondering, and I'll cut this part and put it back in the beginning as well, blue is TX, orange is Brothers Bond. And I for sure thought these were way more similar before. Let me bring the bottles up so you can see what they look like.
Yeah, let's see what they look like.
All right, so this is TX.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
And this one is Brothers Bond. Now, one thing that's reaffirmed for me with Brothers Bond, as I've said before, I love the taste of Brothers Bond, but it always does not bring enough for me. Mm-hmm. Even in non-blind reviews, I've been like, it leaves me wanting more. Mm-hmm. It tastes kind of watery. And it is only 80 proof, but this really reaffirmed that for me. I'm like, yeah, this is... If it had more of those same flavors, it'd be really good. Mm-hmm. Because like you said, and there is apparently a cask strength one that people love, but I haven't had the chance to have it yet. But like you said, it has more of a complexity, different things going on, but it's it's watered down tasting.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I think that would be like the Brothers Bond would be a good introduction bourbon.
Yeah.
But that being said, though, I wouldn't have guessed that was bourbon.
Right. No. And I honestly don't know if I would blind. Yeah. I don't know if I would guess that that's bourbon. The only thing that gives it away for me is a little bit of the oaky sour fruit taste. Some bourbons get that for me. That's the only thing that might give it away. But I'm not too proud to say that I might not guess that was a bourbon in a blind tasting. I'd probably think it was some kind of a blended American whiskey. Mm-hmm. The TX is something totally different.
I really enjoyed the TX. So I got to know the price point.
Yeah. Okay. So great question. I'll look it up on OHLQ because they give exact prices. I was also wondering if they put. I think they don't. They just say that it's blended. Notes. Yeah, or if they put like what whiskeys are blended. But I think if I remember looking it up, they don't give you very much info. Now, if I remember correctly, TX is in the 30s and Brothers Bond is in the 40s. So not like a huge disparity.
The TX, I'm a pretty big fan of that.
Yeah,
I'm a pretty big fan of that.
I'm glad to hear that, and that's even one that you can find at some bars and stuff sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been to a couple of bars that have had it. Let's see what the official price is from OHLQ. $34.99. So it's a $35 bottle. And then Brothers Bond. I was thinking they might have raised the price of Brothers Bond. Let's take a look. Oh, no, they didn't. They lowered it a little bit. So Brothers Bond's only $42. So really similar price range. Yeah. But the TX, and the weird thing is usually that white sugariness of a grain whiskey for me is like a turn off. Like I don't like it. But after we had Brothers Bond, it became so sweet. It became this whole different thing where it was super sweet. I actually have one that I want you to try.
Oh, nice.
Based on this, and it might be on my other shelves. I'm gonna go grab it real quick.
I'm going back in for the TX.
Do it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. If I was to introduce somebody who had never tried whiskey, I think the TX is a really good choice.
Really?
Yeah, just because it's really like friendly.
It is.
It's a very friendly glass of whiskey. It doesn't burn that bad. Very smooth. It's pretty oily too. Yeah. It's not. I mean, my mouth is not dry hardly at all.
That's a good point. Yeah. We didn't really talk about that with either of these, but especially I think the TX doesn't really dry out your mouth. No. The Brothers Bond, it's only 80 proof, but if you were going to say one of these dried out your mouth,
it's a little harsher than the TX.
And I think it's that bitterness.
Yeah, for sure.
So well, I don't want to tell you why we're doing this yet. So I'm gonna have you try this one, and I want your opinion. Okay. And then I'm curious as to how you're gonna respond to this.
This is gonna be another. I'm gonna be looking for bananas.
No. This isn't like that. Close your eyes, though.
Okay.
I threw the lid. So I hope I don't kick it over. Okay, you can open them now. I hit it again. The lid's over there on the ground, though. So I need to not.
I'm excited.
I need to not kick this bottle over.
Round 3.
Yeah, I'm super curious to what you're... Okay.
Yeah, it's so perfumey.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Very fruity, very perfume.
Okay.
Oh, I'm trying to pinpoint which fruit that is. Oh, boy. It's like passion fruit. Like.
Ooh, okay.
Wow, it's very perfumey.
Okay, yeah,
that's my takeaway.
The nose, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Well, I'm gonna rinse my palate out.
Yeah, go. Yeah, good idea.
Because it smells very different.
Yeah, there's a specific reason I want you to try this, but I don't want to give away my motives. I'm really curious as to what you're gonna think of it.
Wow.
Let me hear it.
It's not harsh at all.
Okay.
I also have a lot of water in my palate. Let me go back.
Fair.
That's very welcoming.
Okay.
It's pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, as strange as this is, a lot of the flavor is coming from the perfume of the nose, like on the sip. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you mean.
Let me let it sit a little longer.
Okay.
It's weird because it seems high proof because it like tingles my tongue a little bit, but it's very smooth. Like it doesn't burn.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So it's let me try to rephrase this without pinning my own opinion on it. You're saying it is giving you an alcohol type flavor, if I'm understanding, like high proof flavor.
No, not even the flavor. It's just it's like making my tongue feel numb.
Oh, so the opposite. So it's feeling like alcohol, but not tasting like alcohol. Okay.
Yes.
Now, if you had to put that bottle in a $20 price range, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, where are you putting this glass that you're drinking right now? The audience doesn't even know what you're drinking
It's hard for me to say prices.
Okay. That's fair.
No, but my see, I'm a little backwards because I'm of the opinion that I enjoy the cheaper ones. Like the more expensive ones, they just seem like too much for me. You know,
fair. I want to look up what I'm not ignoring you. I'm trying to figure out how much this actually costs.
I would say. Let me try one more time.
I'll make it a little easier for you too, since like you said, you don't drink a lot in like the $80 range, so like it's not like you're gonna know whether or not to put in that range. So let me narrow it down instead. And you probably don't drink a lot in the $15 range either.
No.
More or less than TX? Do you think it's a more expensive or less expensive whiskey than TX?
See, it's so funny because it could go totally either way for me because it's so smooth. It could be extremely expensive, but it's also so smooth that it could be cheap.
Because it doesn't have
a lot of complexity, I don't think. It's more of a nose than a palate.
Okay.
I would say it's less expensive.
Then TX.
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. Okay. This is it's reaffirming for me. You are drinking Nika Coffee Grain Whiskey. This is a Japanese whiskey.
Okay.
And so they blend TX. If I'm not mistaken, they blend it with some grain whiskey, or at least it tastes like it to me. And I'm not a big fan of the grain whiskey flavor. To me, it tastes like alcohol, which is why when you liked it, I thought, I want you to try Nika Coffee Grain Whiskey.
I do like it.
Okay, so you do like it. But also you admit it's a little bit one-dimensional. I shouldn't say admit. I'm not grilling you here. But
it's very one-dimensional.
That bottle of whiskey, and I'm not bashing it. If that's your flavor, that's your flavor. That bottle is $70. It's not a $70 bottle to me, in my personal opinion.
No.
I
guess it depends on what you want in a way. Because if you're looking for something that's like just you can just sit there and enjoy it and you're just trying to have a glass, I could see how it's so smooth that makes sense why it's expensive.
Okay.
But that also could mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like the dichotomy of it. Is like, it's so smooth that it could be very cheap because it's very one-dimensional. But it's also very smooth, which could make it very expensive.
Right. It's almost like clean, like getting into the realm of a like an expensive vodka territory where you're paying for that pure cleanness.
That's a very good way to put it.
Yeah, that I haven't thought of it until
I'll tell you
said
what,
that.
That makes sense with the perfume. So what? Explain to me a little bit about Japanese whiskey because I'm not.
Well, there's a pretty big range. I'm also not super versed in Japanese whiskey, but a lot of them are similar. They're often compared to scotches. They try to follow a similar process a lot of the time. This is a little bit different in that it is a grain whiskey. And so coffee has nothing to do with the flavor.
And so what is there a particular grain? Is it rice possibly?
I don't believe they list it. It's a blend of multiple. So the way they do this, if I remember correctly, and I'll look it up here in a second, is it's like they distill a bunch of, let's say, corn, just completely just corn, distill it to a really high proof, distill a bunch of just barley or whatever, and then they blend those to get the flavor. I don't remember what the ratio is, so I'm going to look that up right now, or what like whiskeys are included in it.
The perfuminess of it, I'm curious as to, because it's so different from anything else that I've had here. You know, it's not even close.
It's probably the most different bottle on my shelf, I think, compared to anything else. And it's weird. Is it fair to say that it's kind of strange because it's so perfumey and yet so simple then when you taste it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's almost like all of the notes you can pull on the tasting are almost exclusively from the nose.
Right, exactly.
Like the longer you let it set on your palate, it doesn't change my flavor profile at all. It's almost all that initial sip and where I'm getting the perfuminess on my nose is like the entire flavor profile.
Dude, I totally agree. And that's one of the things that's like so strange about it for me. Let's see if I can find. So I had to put my whole birthday and all that in.
It's very, very clean, though.
So all they tell us on their website, at least, is made predominantly from corn.
Okay.
And then it's distilled in a still called a coffee still, or like you might have heard of a column still, where it gets to really high proofs out of that type of a still. Matured in old casks that were refilled, remade, and recharred casks, originally made from American oak, to deliver the sweet and mellow flavors. But I don't get a lot of oakiness.
No.
I don't get a lot of spices.
No.
It's weird to me.
Sweet and mellow. That's a pretty good way to describe it. It's very mellow.
Yes. It's kind of like when we talked about the Redbreast being simple. It's like that times 1,000.
If you handed me a glass of this and told me it was like sake or something else, I wouldn't second guess it. I would not guess that was whiskey.
That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it.
It's so different.
That wasn't even a planned part of this experiment, but when you liked that and it gives me the grain whiskey-esque flavor, I was so curious. But I will say, let me give this a smell because I'm not smelling it. Yeah, I will say the TX.
Do you want to?
Oh, sure, yeah. Let me give it a quick taste here. No COVID. It's gone. Oh, wow. On the nose, it's way more perfumey than I remember it being.
Super perfumey.
It almost tastes like a vodka. Like
It's so smooth.
Just simple and clean.
Let it sit on your tongue and see if you have the same experience as me. Where like,
Okay.
what proof is it?
Oh, great question. 45% ABV, so 90 proof.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes your tongue tingle.
Yeah, it makes your tongue tingle, but it's not a harsh sip at all.
Yeah, and weirdly, it doesn't make your tongue tingle in the same way something super high proof would feel like you're putting a cotton ball on your tongue.
Yeah.
It's more like prickly, like
Yes.
like tingles across your tongue.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I see that.
Yeah.
I see that. And that's why I wanted you to try it, because TX gives me, for the price, I love a lot of what TX does.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the flavor that it does have. I just get this, like the grain whiskey-esque flavors, whether they have grain whiskey in it or not. To me, always comes across as alcohol, and the coffee grain, the Nika coffee grain whiskey, was like the extreme of that for me. I was like, this tastes like vodka. Like this tastes like I'm drinking an alcohol, just alcohol.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like if you told me that, hey, try this sake, I'd be like, all right,
yeah, or like
that's really good.
Like a lightly aged rum is almost a comparison to that.
That's very, very interesting. Very interesting.
That's weird. That'd be a fun. I can't do this to you now because I told you, but doing an aged rum versus that whiskey and being like, which one of these is whiskey?
That would be fun.
That would be. Yeah, I'll have to do it to Zach and have him on. That'd be a fun one. I'm glad we tried this. I learned a lot.
Yeah, that's
from
cool.
This.
That's a cool whiskey. I mean, I can see why it's expensive. It's pretty different.
It is different. That's definitely fair.
It's definitely it'd be a social thing to be like, hey, try this, see what you think about it. You know,
that's fair. I mean, that's what we're doing here,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I didn't pull any different whiskeys off my shelf.
Yeah.
I pulled this one off my shelf.
Exactly.
That's a great point. That's totally fair. Now, bringing it back to the Brothers Bond and the TX, I've given my thoughts on these. I've done episodes on these, but what are your overarching thoughts of these two?
Did we have flavor notes for TX or the?
I didn't bring up official flavor notes. I can bring some up if you'd like, though.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Which one? You want TX first?
Yeah, do TX because I just took a sip of the TX.
Okay. Let's compare to how close we are.
Yeah.
TX whiskey. I've had this on the show before. I hate that you gotta type your name in. It's so hard to do on the fly.
Yeah. While he's looking it up, I mean, the TX it's very smooth, inviting, very sweet, but in a not it's not overpoweringly sweet, especially just drinking it on its own and not comparing it to the Brothers Bond.
Yeah.
So it's very cinnamon, a little bit of cinnamon, a lot of vanilla. Maybe a little bit of banana Foster. Maybe a little bit of caramel, vanilla, banana. Yeah, I really like that a lot.
Something that I just thought of while drinking it that I want to think about next year, honestly, is that almost gives me a nice spring summer-esque vibe with because it is vanilla and things like that, but it's like light.
Yeah.
It's like it's not heavy on your palate. Nope. Anyhow, so the notes that they say. TX, this is Firestone and Robertson is the distiller, and they say vanilla bean on the nose, pear, and slightly sweet. I would say heavily sweet. And then the palate, they say honey butter, which I think is clever, banana, and caramel. I knew it was banana.
Okay, I mean, that's a banana Foster for sure.
For sure, that's like everything in a banana's Foster. Finish, it just says long, smooth, no burn, light burn.
Yeah.
Really light.
Yeah.
I mean,
oily too.
Yeah.
Does not dry you out too bad.
Yeah. It really, I think I didn't give it a fair shake because I was getting a note of alcohol. Not so much the alcohol burn, but a note that reminded me of alcohol.
This also might not stand on its own as well.
That's a great point. This is a great pairing for it.
Yeah.
We will have to try it alone. I can just give you some of it later, like at a different day, and see what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I'd be interested to try.
Yeah. Yes, I'm of legal drinking age. I'm typing in my birthday more times. Okay. Our bourbon. One thing I've said about Brothers Bond. So do you know about Brothers Bond at all?
It's the actors, right?
Yes. This is the Vampire Diaries guys. And their marketing is so good. No whiskey commercials make me want to drink whiskey like their commercials do.
Right.
They're always like the one they've got like a campfire going, or like playing bocce ball together, or cornhole, or one of those, and they're just like laughing, and then they like pour bourbon, and I'm like, that just makes me want to drink a bourbon. Oh my gosh. Great marketing campaign. The notes that they say, view details of the non-cask. I do want to try the cask strength. Everybody says I got to try it. I feel like that would definitely give them more fair of a shake.
Come on, Brothers Bond. Send us a bottle.
Come on, Brothers Bond. Cask strength.
Send us a bottle.
I know I wasn't the biggest fan of the 80 proof, but I don't drink a lot of 80 proof. Cask strength. Maybe I'll like that.
I bet you
know?
it's way better.
It's got to be way better.
No way to know until we get a free bottle.
That's the only way. You're bringing up good points, man. So, aroma and taste, they say... See, you always surprise me with your ability to say things that I didn't pick out. That are... Genuinely, I didn't pick this out. So baked banana bread, which I knew about. Dried fruit.
Yeah.
You said dried fruit, and I don't even think in my tasting I said dried fruit. Warm spices, which it definitely has a little bit of that. Like you said, bakery. Honey. You said baked bread. They don't have that, but they have toasted cereal grains. Okay. Basically the same graininess like bread would have. And then honeysuckle is the other thing that they have. I would say that I get some honeysuckle, but not when you put it next to the TX.
Yeah.
Because that's so vanilla sweet honey that you're not really.
I will say that the I like all of the different flavors that they list, it is possible. It's pretty complex. Like for, especially for that price point.
Right. That's totally fair. And that I've said that about Brothers Bond a bunch. The flavor of it is great. It doesn't finish too harshly.
No.
It doesn't dry out your tongue like crazy. It always just leaves me wanting more, which is why I feel like the cask strength I'll probably love. I probably just need to try it.
Yeah.
Because if it was higher proof and it was bringing more of that flavor, I
could see that as well.
Yeah.
I may not enjoy it more being much stronger.
Yeah.
But I do think I'm always like I'm kind of the opinion on some of this stuff where it's like if I'm going to go for it, I'd rather get the full experience. I mean,
for sure.
It's all like unpleasurable to some extent, and like there's some part of you, at least me. I mean, I don't know about you anymore, but I'm kind of like, And so like if I want to experience that, like I want my money's worth.
Fair. That's fair. You're like, this is gonna have alcohol to it either way. I'll take a little bit more alcohol to at least get more flavor.
Yeah.
Like at least that's a fair way to look at it. That's funny though. Because that to me, genuinely, and I'm not saying this to sound snooty at all. I think a lot of people listening can probably relate to this. Drinking these, being that they're only 80 proof, tastes to me about like drinking wine tasted in high school. Like I could see that. Yeah. I don't feel any buzz at all, and I also like it's not like I have to wince at all. Yeah. But I drink. That's what I can easily see that. Yeah. I mean, I don't even drink often, but like just even the amount that I do here with you or whatever, like these are not like something that I would consider difficult to drink. Whereas when I started, I'd be like, right. And I think that's a real testament to how much it can be what you're focusing on while you're drinking. Let's bring this back to a really important tip for people who do still wince when they drink, okay? It's not a matter of needing to continually acclimate your palate. That helps.
Yeah.
Like my palate is for sure used to this type of stuff. But you go months without drinking whiskey, and you still are able to drink it when you come on the show. Yeah. Part of it might be the fact that we're talking about it, but also because you're focused on the flavors. Yeah. And that's such a huge difference. Yeah. When you're actually looking for flavors and you're focused on that, you said it yourself, it's, okay, this is going to have some alcohol to it. Yeah. But I'm here for the flavors. Right. And I think that's a pretty big game changer.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be my advice to anybody. I mean, there's part of me that doesn't enjoy this. Right. But I mean, like it's a unique experience, and there's a lot of interesting things if you focus and try to sit down and just get past that little bit of misery for a second.
You're right. That little bit of totally hating
it's just a little bit of misery for a second. But that's anything. I mean, really.
I'm married. You don't got to tell me.
Exactly.
I'm kidding.
It's just like, you go hunting or something. You're walking out. It's like, that sucks. Walking in sucks. Dude. It's not about walking out. It's about when you get there.
There's almost no more primal feeling of why am I doing this than 3:30 in the morning walking out to a blind under moonlight. Mm-hmm. It's even if it's early in the season, that early in the morning, it's like 30 degrees. Mm-hmm. You're freezing. And there's something about my brain, I think it's most people's brains. When I'm tired, it is like, why are you doing this? Mm-hmm. It's not just like, man, maybe I shouldn't have done this. It's like, you're an idiot. Why are we doing this?
Should have went home.
Total tangent, but you struck a nerve with me there because that totally agree.
Yeah, you got to stick with it.
You gotta stick, and then it gets better. Yeah, just like whiskey. Mm-hmm. We brought it back to whiskey. Mm-hmm. Bryce, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being.
It was a treat.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you like the TX. Yeah. Now I know when you come over,
big fan of TX.
You're more than welcome to have a glass of it. You're always brave diving into these blinds. I appreciate that. Yep. I can be throwing you total curves, and
you gotta give me one, give me the same thing and 2 different glasses next time.
That's gonna. Or I'll do like one that's whiskey, one's like water, and just see what you say. Who knows? Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for coming on. Hopefully for those listening, you guys learned something from this. If nothing else, the blind tastings are educational. Yeah, they're fun, and really the reason I wanted to do this episode was, I went into this with a bias. I went into this thinking these were going to taste similar, and I wanted to have a third party who doesn't have that bias test it. And it just shows this is why I'm such a big proponent of blind tastings. When you're trying something not blind, there's always bias at work. I try to be so objective, and still I have bias at work. That's one of the really big reasons that I wanted to do this. And of course, I think it's fun to do a blind tasting. I think it's probably fun to listen to because we're so clueless going into it.
Yeah, I enjoy the blind tastings too.
Yeah, it's a blast. If you're listening, you don't do blind tastings, please do them. Even if you have to close your eyes and just try to mix up the glasses, it's worth doing. That's all I can say for blind tastings. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this blind tasting and learned a little bit of something. If you missed the TX and the Brothers Bond episodes, because those were early in the show, at least you got a little bit of an opinion. I recommend before you make any major decisions, go listen to those episodes, though, because as Bryce mentioned, trying these side by side, they're going to give us different tastes than they would if we try them individually. So definitely go listen to those episodes, listen to this one, make your decision if you're going to buy anything. That's all that we've got for this episode, though. So these blind tasting episodes, these are the best example of it. What do we always say? If you want to learn to drink, you got to drink to learn. Cheers, guys. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Whiskey Noobs. If you need more Whiskey Noobs content in your life, make sure you check out our Patreon page in the show notes. And if you like the show, please make sure to leave a 5-star rating or review. It only takes a couple of minutes, and they're way more helpful than people realize. If you want to do tastings alongside the show, make sure you join the email list by sending an email to whiskeynoobspodcast@gmail.com with a subject line that says email list. You'll receive monthly emails with a list of the whiskeys that will be featured throughout the month so that you can buy them ahead of time. You can also find more Whiskey Noobs content on Instagram at @whiskey_noobs and on TikTok at Whiskey Noobs Podcast. Once again, thank you guys for listening. The Whiskey Noobs Podcast does not support underage or otherwise irresponsible consumption of alcohol.